Right, hello, boys and girls. The date is the 23rd of July. I forgot there. 23rd of July. We are just after 7 o'clock, and this is my brand new webinar, Pawsome Piece Mastering Puppy Settling. So, the aim of tonight's webinar is to teach you what you need to do to help promote calmness and how to promote having a more chilled out puppy, a puppy that has found their zen. So that is the aim of tonight's webinar. But before we begin, just a little introduction. I know there's a few of you guys on here tonight that know me anyway, so apologies. You will have heard this spiel many times, but just for those that don't know, who is Tim Jackson? So hopefully by now you realize I am Tim Jackson, but I am a vet nurse by trade. So I qualified back in 2007, I believe, and I was in practice for a number of years, built my way up the ladder, became head nurse. I established Petstone Press, I should say, back in 2008. Our 15th anniversary coming up in a couple of weeks' time. And in 2014, decided to leave practice and focus on Petstone Press and building it. In 2018, I opened our first daycare centre in South Shields. And since then, we've just kind of grown and grown as well. I'm an author now. I've currently published 4 books. So Help My Dog Is a Devil with Other Dogs, Help My Dog Doesn't Like Being Left Alone, Take the Lead for the Perfect Recall, and the South Shields Puppy Playbook. I'm currently in the process of writing my next book, which is going to be all about recall training as well too. I haven't got a date for that. I keep putting off when I'm going to do it. I've started it, but other things keep getting in the way. So hopefully that'll be ready to be published by the end of the year. But I won't hold myself accountable by giving you an exact date. And moving on, finally, I'm also a canine behaviourist as well too. So my first dog I had, Lady, who is pictured in the far left picture there, the German Shepherd. I made many mistakes with her when she was a puppy. She developed separation anxiety and various other just things I couldn't control, like a lead training, not great recall, things like that. So in the end, I ended up getting a canine behaviourist out. I was very young when I had Lady. I didn't really know a lot about canine behaviour or canine or training or anything really. The German Shepherd probably in hindsight wasn't the best dog for my first breed of dog, our first puppy to get. But we live and learn. Anyway, it was when I got this behaviourist out, I followed everything the behaviourist told us to do, spent a lot of money on this particular behaviourist as well. I started seeing some really impressive changes with Lady as well too. So much so that I found my passion for behaviour and training. So although Lady caused me a lot of stress as a puppy, I do also thank her, because it was thanks to her that I found my passion for canine and behaviour. And it's thanks to her that I'm where I am today as well. And my aim, as always, with any of these webinars that I do, any training classes, any one-to-one training that I do, my aim is to always help people. My mission is to ensure that no other puppy owner has to kind of go through the stress that I did. I do blame Lady for partial hair loss as well. I definitely blame the wife and the children for the rest of it as well. Right, so moving on then. So we're going to start by looking at puppy zoomies, okay, which is something very common. I'd say most puppies get the zoomies. The many owners I speak to on a daily basis, a weekly basis, those that come to puppy school, those that I do training with, they will always say to me, oh, it's roughly 8 o'clock every night by clockwork. The dog has the zoomies. He just runs round and round and round and round the living. It's common. Many puppies do it, okay? So zoomies refer to the sudden burst of energy and playful running exhibited by puppies. So literally the racing around the living room, okay, or wherever it may be, running up the 3 flights of stairs, whatever it is, okay? And it's a common behavior, okay? Many owners with young dogs see this particular behavior, okay? It's characterized by running, spinning, and sometimes just often spinning around in circles as if they're chasing their tail as well too, okay? So what I want to do is have a look at why puppies have the zoomies, okay? Because in order to kind of correct a lot of behaviors, you've got to understand them as well. You've got to understand why puppies do what they do, why any dog does what they do. Certainly my job as a behaviorist, if I go meet a dog for the first time, for whatever that issue may be, I need to understand why the dog's displaying that behavior. I need to understand that, because if I want to try and correct that behavior, I have to understand exactly why the dog's displaying that behavior. And it's exactly the same with puppies as well, too. If you're trying to change a behavior, you've got to understand why the puppy's doing that behavior, or displaying that behavior in the first place. So that's why we're going to start by delving into some of the reasons why puppies do the zoomies. Okay? So a lot of the time, it's down to excess energy. All right? And you see it a lot, especially when you've got a puppy kind of in between the vaccination stage. So before we can take them out for their first walks and things like that, you see it a lot. Well, and certainly the owners I've spoken to have seen it a lot more in that particular time. It doesn't mean it stops when they start going out for walks as well. Okay, but puppies, as I'm sure you're aware, have boundless energy and high activity levels as well too. Okay, and they know the zoomies normally occur when this pent up energy just kind of needs to be released. All right, what we've got to remember with puppies is they're not like us. If we've got a lot of energy, we can go out, we can do something, because we have the control in our lives to be able to do that. We can be like, right, let's go for a run, let's go to the gym, let's go out with our friends, let's do something. Okay, puppies don't get that luxury, dogs don't get that luxury. Okay, they rely on us to give them their energy. Okay, so if they've got a pent up level of energy, then that needs to be released somehow. Okay, and a lot of the time it's released in the shape of zoomies. Okay, obviously regular playtime, regular exercise can help minimize the frequency of zoomies as well too, because then you're providing the puppy with an outlet for this energy. You're giving them a way to kind of burn this energy off them as well too. All right, so another reason is developmental stages as well. So puppies go through different I'll get my words out, different developmental struggling there, you can tell it's a Sunday, developmental stages, just like we do as well too. As humans, we go through different stages as well. Okay, I'm not saying that we have the zoomies or anything like that, but zoomies are particularly common, especially during the adolescent phase. Okay, so obviously as humans, we'll remember what it was like going through our adolescent stages. I've got a daughter now who's 12 who I swear is having early adolescent stages, who's having an early adolescent boost. But we remember what it was like, don't we? Our moods were up and down, our energy levels were up and down. Everything was just like the world was against us. Dogs go through adolescent stages as well too. Thankfully, their adolescent phase isn't as long as humans. It's over within a couple of months as well. Okay, but during this stage, puppies experience rapid growth, hormonal changes, and increased curiosity about their surroundings. Okay, so there's a good chance that zoomies may serve as a way for them to kind of explore and test their physical abilities as well. Because zoomies aren't just something that happen in the house, they can happen outside as well too. So when puppies are out on their walks, when they're off lead, even older dogs as well too can still get zoomies as well. Okay. Difficulty in settling. So while zoomies are pretty fun to watch, let's be honest, we all have a good chuckle when our puppy first does it or when they continue to do it. But the problem you have is once they've done it, they struggle to settle down afterwards as well too. All right. So let's have a look at some of the reasons behind their difficulty in finding calmness as well too. Okay. I forgot to say at the beginning as well, if anyone's got any questions, there will be time at the end for Q&A sessions. You are more than welcome to ask any questions in the chat box, and I'll come back to them at the end of the webinar, or you can save them till the end of the webinar as well, whatever's easiest for you. So, overstimulation. Okay, so puppies have a very heightened sensory perception, and they can very, very easily become overly stimulated. Okay, and they can become overly stimulated by loud noises, unfamiliar surroundings, crowded spaces, and these can really make it challenging for puppies to relax and to settle. Okay, so another reason is lack of mental stimulation as well too. Many puppies just don't receive enough mental stimulation. Now, I think as owners and as many dog owners will understand and appreciate the importance of taking your puppy for a walk, burning off energy that way. But many, many people don't seem to understand the importance of mental stimulation. Okay, and puppies require mental stimulation to help keep them engaged and to help prevent boredom. All right, if you provide mental stimulation for your dog, you're going to prevent a lot of unwanted behaviors as well too. Okay, because without appropriate mental stimulation, okay, they're going to struggle to calm. They're going to have a lot more energy in them as well. We want to try and get the energy off them. Okay, we want to try and do them. And when I say get the energy off them, we don't want to take them to a field and literally just throw the ball 100 times until they've literally passed out. There's other ways and far better ways to burn the energy off them as well too. Mental stimulation is a great way to burn off energy off our puppies. And we can do that with toys, with puzzle games, training exercises. These all help provide mental stimulation. Okay, relaxation techniques. Okay, so just like humans, puppies too can benefit from relaxation techniques, and many times they're just not given the opportunity. I'd say probably as humans as well, we're not really given, especially as adults, we don't get many relaxation opportunities, do we? Especially if you've got kids. And I can hear my daughter upstairs going, "Daddy, where are you?" with my wife going, "Daddy's working." Shush. You can never get relaxation when you've got kids. But how can we provide relaxation for our puppies? Gentle massages, soothing music. So classical music's really good as well. And basically just by creating a comfortable environment to help promote relaxation. Okay. If you go to a spa day or something like that, the environment that you're in, it's just kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for? It just kind of like shouts out to you relaxation, doesn't it? It's got the music, it's got the nice smells. I mean, it's been a long time since me and the wife went last once. I had a spa day, but I can just about remember it. But it kind of it makes you want to relax as well too, because of that environment that you're in. It makes you want to relax subconsciously. Okay, it helps you relax, and that's what we want to be doing with puppies as well. We want to help give them an environment that is going to be calm, that is going to be relaxing for them as well too, because that will make it easier for them to settle. Okay, so we have to remember puppy zoomies are a normal part of their development. Okay, it is a way for them to release excess energy. Okay, we have to understand the reasons behind zoomies and the challenges that they face once they've had the zoomies in actually settling down. Okay, that is a challenge in itself. They do struggle to settle down afterwards. Kids are the same as well. If you wind kids up, so I'm going to be honest here. This is something I do all the time with my kids. So I play a game with my kids called Big Bad Wolf. Basically, it's just like it's kind of like a hide and seek game. They go and hide, and I'm the big bad wolf, and I come and find them. When I find them, I tickle them. So that's the game, the Big Bad Wolf. But they get really, really, really excited with it. And then the wife's like, bedtime. Why'd you always wind them up for bed? And then they can't settle because I've wound them up. Okay, so that's I'm guilty. I'm guilty with that. But puppies are exactly the same. If you wind a puppy up or if they've got the zoomies, it's really, really hard for them to settle down afterwards. Okay, really, really hard. So I'll just stress now, I'm really good with dogs, but I break all the rules for the kids. So by ensuring regular exercise, mental stimulation, and by providing a calm environment, we're going to be able to help puppies find their inner peace after these energetic escapades as well too. Okay, so moving on to the good stuff. How are we going to do all of this? All right, how are we going to help promote calmness? Because that's what we need to do. We need to promote calmness, okay, in order to have a calmer puppy. All right. What normally happens is when puppies get the zoomies or when puppies are displaying unwanted behaviors and things like that, what normally happens is we give them attention for it. And therefore they repeat that behavior as well, because sometimes they see it as an opportunity to get our attention. Okay. What we want to show them is that actually when they're calm, when they're relaxed, that actually is also or even a much better opportunity to get our attention as well. So where do we start? We need to start by ditching the food bowl, okay? And that might sound a little bit strange, okay? If you've not been in my world for long, or if you've not been on any of my webinars or anything like that before, then this might sound a little bit strange. Ditch the food bowl? Well, that's how we feed our dog. trust me, there are far better ways to do it. And we do that in the way of brain games. Okay, so you've got snuffle mats, snuffle balls, empty cardboard boxes, scatter feeds in the grass. The list is literally endless. If you go on Google and just put brain games for dogs, you'll be inundated with different ideas and things like that. But it's a far better way to feed our dog because it encourages them to work for it. It's mental stimulation. It's going to promote calmness as well, too. Okay, it's promoting calmness rather than them kind of inhaling their food. It's calming them down, slowing them down a little bit as well, too. And it's 9 times out of 10, it's quite a low arousal activity as well. Okay, they're not getting overly excited. And as I've already said, it's going to help keep them stimulated. It's providing mental stimulation. Now, a 10-minute brain game is equivalent to an on-lead 45-minute walk. So it tires them out a lot, okay? So it's a really, really beneficial way to feed your dog and also provide them with mental stimulation as well, too. I very rarely feed my dog from a food bowl. Very, very rare. They always work for things because they enjoy it, and I know it tires them out as well, too, okay? And here's just some examples of different ways that you can kind of use some homemade products as well too to make some different brain games. You've got empty egg cartons there. The one in the middle, the top middle, that's my dog Buddy. He loves this game where I'll freeze a little bit of his kibble, pop it in his Kong, pop it in the freezer, and then the next day hang it from the washing line. Keeps him occupied for ages, and he absolutely loves it. Really simple little game, but he absolutely loves it. It tires them out as well too. Then we've got games with brain games made out of toilet roll tubes, empty plastic bottles, towels, cardboard boxes. As I've said, the list is literally endless. If you go on Google and just put homemade brain games for dogs, you'll be inundated with different ideas. But it's a great way to feed your dog. Okay, far better than providing them with a food bowl as well. And even if you feed your dog wet food, there are various games and things that you can use, puzzle games that you can buy from supermarkets to feed them. Licky mats being one of the more common ones these days as well. Or even slow feeders as well. You can use slow feeders with wet food as well too. So I want to talk to you about something called Smart 50. Okay, so Smart 50, basically what that means, what it stands for is see, mark, and reward training. Okay, so see, mark, and reward training. Okay, so we're going to see the behavior, we're going to mark it, and we're going to reward that behavior as well. Okay, and there is a reason why it's called Smart 50. So in an ideal world, what we should be doing every day is weighing out our puppy's food. So legally, all bags of food should have a feeding guide on the packet. Okay, you want to weigh the food out for your dog's weight at that particular time. Obviously, as puppies keep getting their weights checked, because obviously it's going to change quite a lot as the weeks go along, as puppies start getting bigger. But you want to weigh it out. Okay, so weigh out their daily allowance. You then want to take 50 pieces of kibble. Okay, so and imagine you've got you've got 360 grams. That's just a random number that's come to your head. You've got 360 grams that you weigh out for a daily basis. That's your dog's food allowance. Okay, that's their daily allowance that they need each day. Okay, you're going to take 50 pieces of them kibble out of there. Okay, and the idea is that them 50 pieces of kibble, that's going to be your pot of value. Okay, should I say your puppy's pot of value? And what you're going to do throughout the day, every day, is look for 50 different opportunities to reward your dog. Okay, so they're displaying a behavior that we class as acceptable. We want to reward them for it. Okay, the rest of your food allowance you can use for training, you can use in scatter games, you can use brain games, whatever you want. But this particular pot of 50, this is what we're going to use to really, really look at promoting and praising them desired behavior, seeing, marking, and rewarding them particular behavior. Because as humans, we're quite a negative species, aren't we? We always look at the negative side of things. We're always looking at the things that we don't want the puppies to do. Oh, why is he doing the zoomies? Why is me puppy biting us? Why is me puppy doing this? Why is me puppy doing that? By doing that, we let all of the good behaviors pass us by. Okay, we ignore all the good behaviors. This way, we're going to be actively going out and looking for the behaviors. We're going to be searching for them because we've got 50 opportunities to reward our puppy each and every day. And the more you reward them for displaying a particular behavior, guess what? The more they're going to repeat that behavior as well. Okay? And that's what we want. We want repeated behaviors. We want desired behaviors to be repeated. They're only going to get repeated if we reward them for it. If our dog's displaying unwanted behaviors and we're kind of giving them attention for it, i.e., we are telling them off, smacking the bum, not that I would ever recommend that, screaming, shout, whatever it may be, they're going to repeat that behavior because they're getting the attention for doing so. Yeah, we need to start ignoring those unwanted behaviors. We need to put our efforts into praising and marking the desired behaviors. And now you're going to have 50 opportunities to do that. All right. So that's Smart 50. If you forget everything else that we'll go through in tonight's webinar, please, please, please remember Smart 50. It's a great little tool, dead simple. It's a great way to kind of change your mindset as well, too. So instead of focusing on the negatives, we're focusing on the positives as well. Okay. And what sort of things do we want to be promoting? Obviously, calmness. Yeah, that's definitely something we want to be promoting because that's a behavior that we want repeated. Remember, puppies, dogs, they're never just doing nothing. They're always doing something. And if we promote that behavior, if we mark that behavior, reward that behavior, they're going to repeat that behavior. So if puppies lying in bed and they get rewarded for it, oh, I'll do this more often because every time I do, I get a treat. They're going to continue to do it because they're getting rewarded for it. Okay. Obviously, we want to reward them when they're being quiet as well, too. It's really, really important. We certainly don't want a dog that's going to be barking at the window, barking at the doors, barking at everyone that comes in. It can get frustrating very, very quickly as well, too. So that's another behavior that we want to mark, okay? See, mark, and reward. We also want to look at marking any disengagement as well. So if your puppy's focused on a distraction and they disengage and look back at you, orientate back to you, yeah, we want to mark that. Yeah, we want to reward that because that's a really good behavior. That's a behavior that we want to see repeated again and again and again. All right. But there's many, many different behaviors. If you want, I'm not here to tell you all them behaviors. If your dog's doing something that you want repeated, then you praise them for it. Okay, you reward them for it. You mark it and you reward them for it. Well, okay. So now we're going to move on and look at how we can really, really build on this calmness activity, this calmness behavior. Okay, and we're going to look at creating a boundary. Okay, so a boundary is vital in promoting calmness. Okay, it's going to actively help teach your dog to rest. And it's going to help grow calmness. That's what we want. That's why we're here tonight, right? We want to grow calmness, okay? And the thing to remember with calmness is the more they practice being calm today, the calmer they will be tomorrow, okay? And the day after that, and the day after that. We need to help grow this calmness. We need to give them opportunities to practice calmness because the more they practice something, the better they become at it. Okay, like my 12-year-old daughter at the moment is, I'm sure, practicing staying in bed as long as she can, and she's getting much better at it as well too. I think it was like 12 o'clock by the time she had ventured out of bed today. And because it was miserable outside, she just decided, I'm not even going to get ready today. I'm just going to stay in my PJs all day. So, right. So thinking about boundaries, okay? That choice for that space is up to you what you choose. So a boundary would be something like a bed or a towel or a mat. That would be a boundary, okay? So for the purpose of this tonight's webinar, we're just going to look at a bed, but the training process is exactly the same, whether you use a towel, whether you use a mat. Personally, I would be training our puppies to a bed, but also maybe to a fleece blanket as well too, because a fleece blanket is portable. If you're the sort of person that likes that's potentially looking at taking puppies to cafes or to the pub or to your friend's house or other various dog-friendly places, and you want them to be calm when they're there, if you've got a portable towel or fleece blanket, that's going to be that you can use so that when they say, oh, okay, I see this, I know I need to be calm, I know I'm going to get something for doing so, then that's why I would recommend training not only to a bed, but also to a towel or something portable as well. It matters well, whatever you want, okay? But as I said, for tonight's webinar, we're going to just be looking at the bed, but the training process is exactly the same for everything, okay? For towel, mat, etc., etc. All right. So I'm going to give you a step-by-step guide. All right. Now the recording of this webinar will be made available to you guys once we have finished with it this evening. So you can refer back to it, so you don't need to make any notes. This is your step-by-step guide on how to build on that boundary. Okay. So first things first, we want to reward any interaction with the bed. So if the puppy walks past the bed, let's mark that behavior. If the puppy looks at the bed, let's mark that behavior. If the puppy gets on the bed, whoo, yes, we definitely want to reward that behavior. We want to shape value to the bed. We want to teach the puppy that the value is on the bed. Okay? If they're on the bed, that's where the value is going to be as well. So we want to kind of get them to go there voluntarily as well. We want them to really love the bed. And it's important that we don't use the bed as a punishment, okay? We don't use the bed as a negative. The bed should never, ever be a negative. This should always be a positive, fun place for our puppies to go to, all right? Now, you may need to help at the beginning stages. You may need to help lure them onto the bed with a treat. So when I say lure, you put a treat to your puppy's nose and you encourage them to follow the treat onto the bed when they've got all four paws on, then you can give them the treat. But eventually, we want to actually encourage them to do it voluntarily. So we don't necessarily need to introduce a cue word or anything like that. We want them to do it voluntarily, all right? I like giving our dogs choices because by doing that, 9 times out of 10, especially if they know that they're going to get something from making what we would class as the right choice, they're going to constantly make the right choice as well. We're not having to force them to do anything they don't want to do. We're giving them the choice to do so. All right. So any interaction with the bed should be rewarded. They get on the bed, definitely 100% needs to be rewarded because we need to shape value through the bed. Okay. When they're on the bed, we're going to feed the bed. We're not feeding the dog. We're feeding the bed. We're going to be generous with that, but we're feeding the bed, which might sound a bit strange. But basically, instead of putting the treat to the dog's mouth, we're going to just put the treat on the bed. We're going to drop the treats on the bed because the bed is where the value is. If your dog thinks that the value is on the bed, they're going to stay on the bed. If your dog thinks that sitting at the bench, looking up whilst you're preparing dinner because food's going to drop is where the value is, guess where they're going to stay? They're going to stay there. They will always stay where the value is. Okay? We want to teach puppy that actually the best value in the whole house is on the bed. If you're on the bed, that's where the value is going to be. And it's really, really important that we feed the bed, not the dog. Okay? We want to try and do slowly to begin with, okay? Because we want to promote calmness. We don't want to make it into a fun, kind of excitable game where they're jumping all over us. We want it to be fun, okay? So we want to promote, we want it to be slow to promote that calmness, okay? Once they're on, and they're happy to stay on the bed because they know that the treats are going to come. So basically, when they're on the bed, you just want to keep feeding the bed. Okay, feed the bed, feed the bed, feed the bed. Initially, you'll be using a lot of treats to begin with. All right, you may actually need more than your 50 at the beginning stages. But basically, we're just feeding the bed, feeding the bed, feeding the bed. Okay, we then want to give the dog a release word so they know, okay, it's all right now for me to come off the bed. That could be break, it could be free, it could be okay, it could be whatever you want to do. Okay, as long as you're consistent with that particular word. All right. And then we're going to wait. Once the dog's off the bed, we're going to wait for them to make the choice to then orientate and go back to the bed. Okay. And when they do, we reward them generously. But again, we don't feed them, we feed the bed. Guess what? That is where the value is. The value is on the bed. Okay. So quick recap. We start by rewarding any interactions with the bed. We can use a lure to encourage them onto the bed. so that they know, okay, when I'm on here, good things happen. And then we want to use choice-based training. Okay, we want them to make the choice to go on the bed by themselves. Every time they go on the bed, we're going to feed lots. We're going to be generous. We're feeding the bed, remember. Okay, doing it slowly to begin with to help promote calmness. All right. We then want to have a release word, break, free, okay, whatever that may be. And then once the dog's off the bed, we wait and we wait for them to make the choice to go back on the bed. They go back on the bed, guess what? That's where the value is. If they choose not to go on the bed, they'll look out. They don't get anything. All right. So basically, as I've said, we want the dog to see the value of the bed. Okay. We don't necessarily, when it comes to feeding them as well, we don't just want to kind of put the treats down where the mouth end is. We want to try and feed from behind as well, too. So dropping treats from behind. Now, this part, you may need to try and be a little bit speedy or a bit faster because we want to try and detach from our hand. We want the dog to learn the value is on the bed. We're feeding the bed. That's where the value is. Okay. Another way to kind of build on that as well is give Kongs, chew toys on the bed to help promote calmness. When a dog's lying down chewing, that's a calming activity. That's a behavior we want repeated. That's being reinforced automatically by the chew or the Kong that they're chewing. Okay. We want to build on the duration that they're on this boundary for as well, too. Okay. So start off for short periods to begin with, but then build it up as well. But don't forget the release word. Yeah. So we start with just kind of small little kind of training sessions, and then we build up how long we're going to get them to stay on the bed, not forgetting that release word when it's all right for them to come off the bed as well. Okay. Now we want to add in a distraction. Okay. So when the dog's on the bed, what we're going to do is we're going to put kind of like a little handful of treats, and we're going to cage that handful of treats, kind of like caging a mouse, so to speak. Okay. So we're caging a mouse. All right. Now the puppy may show interest. Okay. They may try pawing, they may try mouthing, they may whimper, they may bark at us, but we're not going to remove that hand. When the dog backs off, so when the puppy backs away, then we release the hand and then they can have the treats. Okay. But any form of nudging, any form of barking, pawing, using the nose, trying to get under your hand, we are not removing the hand. Okay. The hand only backs off when the dog backs off. Okay. Because we want to teach the dog that, okay, sometimes I've got to control myself. Sometimes there may be distractions. However, I'm better to stay, and it's more value for me to stay in the bed if I and wait, and then I'll get the treats. Yeah. So we're teaching them that it's okay to sit back and wait. They sit back and wait, they will get the treats far quicker than if they try and push their luck by nudging, barking, pawing, whatever it may be. Okay. When they're starting to get the hang of it, so you've got your hand down, when they get the hang of your hand going over the treats and they're automatically just backing away and waiting for you to give them the treats, you can then try covering the treats off the bed. Okay. So I've got a picture of this and the screen's not very big, but imagine, hopefully you can see me in my little screen. Okay. But imagine this is the bed. Okay. We're going to now, so initially we're putting the treats on the bed. We're caging the treats on the bed. Yeah. Now what we're going to be doing is caging the treats off the bed. What we're waiting for is for the dog to remain on the bed. Okay. Because that is where the value is. Not out here where the cage treats are, but on there where the value is. Okay. Now it's important when we release the hand that we bring the treats up with us and we feed the bed. We don't want to encourage them off the bed. We want them to stay on the bed because that is where the value is. Yeah. So hopefully that makes sense. So we start by just caging the treats on the bed to begin with, and then we can start looking at bringing the caged hand off the bed. What we're looking for is for the puppy to kind of be stuck to the boundary. Okay. We're teaching them that actually that's where the value is. Okay. If you're calm, if you're controlled, you're more than likely to get the treats a lot quicker. You're going to get that value a lot quicker. Okay, what we don't want is for a puppy that has zero impulse control, that as soon as they see something, they're trying the hardest to get to it. Okay, we want them to realize that, okay, I need to control myself. I need to wait. I need to be patient. Okay, without being patient, I'm not going to get anything. Okay, trust us, this will have many different impacts on your puppy's life if you can start teaching them to be calm and be kind of controlled at this early stage as well too. So we want to have a little look at our dog's calmness wheel. Okay, so a calmness wheel. This is how we work on calmness. Okay, throughout the day, we want to make sure that our dogs have some passive calming activities. So these could include scent games, scatter feeds, long-lasting chews, just avoid anything raw hide, licky mats, kongs. Basically, it's any activity that can help grow calmness. Okay, but we need to make sure that we're giving our dogs ample opportunities to be getting some passive calming activities throughout the day. Okay, we should have a calmness protocol, which we will have with our Smart 50, see, mark and reward training. Okay, because with that pot of value, we're going to be promoting calmness, we're going to be promoting calm behavior. Okay, and whenever we're looking at this, we also want to look at how can we make that 20% better. How can we make our puppy 20% calmer? Okay. Yeah, we don't want a dog that's sleeping all day. This is not the point I'm trying to get to. Okay. But we do want a puppy that's calmer. A puppy that's calmer has more manners. A puppy that's calmer is less stressful for you as well too. It makes life having a puppy a lot easier as well. Okay. And then we need them to have active rest as well. Okay. Dogs need to make many choices throughout the day. Okay, active rest is an important choice for them to have. Okay, because it's a great way to kind of empty their bucket. And when I say bucket, I mean a stress bucket. So as humans, dogs, we all carry around this stress bucket. Okay, I know you're probably thinking my dog doesn't have a bucket that he carries around in his mouth. I just mean in your head. Okay, we all have this kind of stress bucket in our head that throughout the day things can be added to. If you've got one of them days from hell, I'm sure we all understand and know what I mean when I say that. If we've got one of them days from hell, that bucket just fills and fills and fills. You then might get home on a night time and something just so tiny could happen, and that's it, your bucket explodes and you're ready to it's ready for World War III. Yeah, we've all had them days. All right. So we need to make sure that our puppy's buckets are always quite low. Okay, active rest is a great way to do that. Okay, passive calming activities is a great way to do that. Okay, the problem with stress buckets is they fill up very, very quickly. Okay, they take a lot longer to kind of empty. Think of it kind of like a bath. You fill a bath full, pull the plug out. Okay, but then turn the taps on. Okay, it's going to just constantly build and build and build. Okay, it's going to take a lot longer for it to empty if you've constantly got things being thrown into the bucket. All right. Sadly, nowadays, there's so many dogs out there that suffer with stress, suffer with anxiety. Okay. I'm still working with a lot of lockdown puppies. Obviously, they're not puppies anymore, but I'm still working with a lot of dogs that were around during the lockdown times and COVID times. So there's so many dogs out there that are anxious and stressy and have a lot of issues. This is your opportunity now to make sure that our puppies don't grow up to be stressed little dogs. Okay, we need to make sure that we use this calmness wheel. Okay, and what I want you to do each day is look at rotating your dog around that calmness activity. Okay, so look at a calming activity. Okay, look at your Smart 50. Look at providing some active rest as well too. Okay, I think where a lot of people go wrong when it comes to having puppies is they think that they must do everything in their power to tire the puppy out, and that's the only way they're going to get a good night's sleep. No, it's not. We can look at giving our dog opportunities throughout the day to be calming activities. There's loads of them. Like I've said, scatter feeds, snuffle mats, licky mats, kongs, chews. These are calming activities. These are things that we can do to help promote calmness. Okay, if you take your dog to the field and you're literally just stood with a ball thrower and you're throwing the ball time time again, or you're not promoting calmness. You're promoting this overly kind of stimulated, energetic puppy who just literally wants to fly around all the time. Okay, we need to look at trying to promote calmness. Okay, if we promote calmness, if we actively look for calmness, we encourage our puppy to be calm, we're going to get a calmer outcome as well too. Okay, by looking at rotating the calmness wheel, as I've already said, we're going to look at creating an emptier bucket as well too. Okay, and we're going to have a puppy that will make more choices associated with calmness. Okay, that's what we want. We want them to make choices associated with calmness. Okay, remember, a calm dog isn't displaying unwanted behaviors. Okay, when doing passive calming activities, we should always be assessing our dog. We should always be reflective. We should always actually look and think, are they actually being calm? So let's think of a scatter game. Okay, if you throw a scatter, if you're feeding your dog via a scatter game, okay, so that a scatter game's where you scatter the treats in the grass or something, and you release the dog, and they're literally like bouncing around, like, where's this treat? Where's this treat? That's not a calming activity. Okay, that's not a calming activity. A calming activity is where they are actually calm. Okay, where they are actually calm. If you've got a dog that just happily goes and mooches and he's got his nose down and he's sniffing, that's calm. If they're literally flying around looking for every last bit of kibble, that's not calm. So then you need to look at something that is calm. Calm toys where your dog is lying down, that is a calm activity, okay? But whatever the activity is, we always want to ask, how can I make that 20% better? Yeah? How can I make that 20% better? We then need to look at building on this boundary. So going back to boundaries now, okay? We want to look at building on the boundary, all right? How are we going to grow it? How are we going to strengthen it? How are we going to have it so that our puppy is actually sucked towards that boundary, is encouraged to that boundary, wants to orientate towards that boundary, wants to spend time in that boundary? How do we do that? Okay, we want to turn it into a suction. That's what we want. Okay, we want it to be a way of, we want to kind of give the dog the choice to think, this is where I want to spend my time during the day. This is the best place to be. This is a good place to be in the house, because guess what? This is where the value is. Okay, where your dog spends their time throughout the day will help influence their behavior. Okay, so if they're sat on a windowsill and there's people walking past constantly, there's dogs walking past, there's cats, the neighbour's cats who's constantly on the fence trying to torment your dog, and your dog's allowed to bark, guess what's going to happen? They're going to constantly be doing that. They're going to be wanting to be on the window more, because that's something they've practiced. The more they practice a behavior, the stronger that behavior becomes. So where they spend their time influences their behavior. If they spent their time more in their bed, then they are actively going to be calmer. Okay, imagine this. Let's go back to the spa. Okay, imagine every day was spent at the spa. Okay, every day was spent at the spa. Okay, imagine, that would be a lovely life, wouldn't it? Lovely life, lovely if you could get it. But imagine every day was spent at the spa. Every day you are having massages, you're having a nice little swim in the pool, you are going in the steam room, in the sauna, jacuzzi, just getting a relax in one of them salt rooms. I don't quite understand how they work, but I know I was relaxed when I was in one time. But anyway, but you get the idea, yeah? So imagine you're spending every day in a spa. What effect do you think that would have on your overall behavior? As opposed to, I don't know, let's think of a busy job. You know what I think would be quite a busy job? Working on the checkouts in Aldi. I think that would be really quite stressful, actually. You know, like beep, 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 throughout the day. I think that would be quite a stressful job, actually, because I don't know how it works, but I'm sure they've got to have so many customers through a certain amount of time. I can imagine that's quite stressful. If you're doing that constantly, that's going to have an effect on kind of your overall behavior as well. Okay, I hope I'm explaining this well enough. Basically, what I'm trying to say is if you spend more time being relaxed, you're going to generally be more relaxed. You're going to be a calmer person. If you spend more time on the go, you're going to struggle to be able to relax. Okay, so I am a prime example of that. I am always on the go. Okay, I'm always busy. I do like that. Okay, I like that. All right. So I'm going to go against what we're trying to get from our puppies. I actually like being busy all the time. I get bored if I'm not busy. But I'm always on the go. Every day is different for me as well. So I might at the daycare, I might take the dogs out on adventure. I might be doing training with the staff. I might be going out to do one-to-one trainings. I might be running a puppy school. I might be checking on people's cats. I might be doing health and wellness checks. I might be doing agility training. I might be doing balance board training. I might be doing scent work. I might be taking the daycare dogs to the scent space. I might be going to karate with my kids. I might be at home doing something with the kids. I might be going out with the kids. Every day is different with me. Okay, and that's the way I like it. But when the time comes to stop, when I sit down on a night time, the wife always tells us off for this. I'm twitching. I don't like sitting still. I can't sit still for too long. I like to be on the go all the time. But that's because that's my lifestyle. My lifestyle is I'm active. Okay, I'm always on the go. All right. When it does come to stopping, I struggle to kind of stop. The only time I can really stop is when I'm in bed. That's my kind of relaxing time. That's the only time I really stop. Otherwise, I'm constantly on the go. I'm always keeping myself busy. All right. Puppies are exactly the same. If they spend more time being calmer, they will be calmer. If they spend more time being active and not stopping, they will struggle to actually relax. I hope I explained that in a very, very long-winded way. Okay. So going back to the suction, I digressed a lot. How do we create that suction? Okay, what do we do to try and create that suction? Okay, and it's important that we only do this when we've worked on the previous stages. So you know where we talked about building up the dog, the kind of shaping the bed, so the dog going on the bed, where we're feeding the bed, where we're playing the little kind of mouse game, where we're caging the mouse. It's only when we've got success with that stage that we would then move on to this stage. Okay, so how do we create that suction? It's really important that we keep topping up the value of the bed. We keep supercharging the bed. Okay, so we keep feeding the bed. Okay, it's really, really important that we do that. We want to constantly keep feeding the bed. Okay, now creating a suction. What we want to do is have the dog off the bed. Okay, and what we're going to do is place a finger through the collar or just on the chest. Very lightly. We're not necessarily restraining them as such. It is going to be very, very light. It's just a gentle restraint. We don't need to be that far away from the bed as well too. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to release them. And what we're waiting for, what we're wanting to see is if the dog kind of orientates back to the bed. Now, how well you've been working on the previous stages will determine how quick your dog is suctioned back to that bed as well. Okay, they will only be suctioned back to the bed if you've worked hard on the previous stages as well. Okay, you can encourage them by throwing a treat just as you release it as well too. But the idea is again, we want them to realize that the value is on the bed. Okay, by promoting this calm behavior, this resting behavior, we will have an overall calmer and more relaxed puppy, not just inside, outside as well too. Okay, and with anything, with any form of training, don't go for perfection. Okay, just remember, Rome wasn't built in a day. Every puppy's different. Every dog learns at different levels. Some will pick it up very quickly, others it's going to take them a little bit of time, and that's fine. Okay, we've got all the time in the world. We've got a puppy. Okay, but practice makes perfect. The more we practice, the better the outcome we will get. Okay, don't worry if they get it wrong. We'll practice again tomorrow. Okay, the idea is now we're adding a little bit of a challenge in. Okay, Now we're getting them to think more. Well, at the beginning stages, they might just, once you've let go of the restraint, they might just look at you and be like, yeah, what do you want us to do now? If they think about it, and they eventually will, they'll start thinking, I need to be back on the bed, because that is where the value is. I need to be there because I know that there's value on the bed. Okay. We want them to kind of work through the excitement. Okay. Knowing that you're doing something different, you're gently restraining them, there's something different going on. We want them to work through that excitement and be sucked right back to the boundary. And if they do that, they're going to be rewarded for it. See, mark and reward training, SMART 50. Okay. We're going to constantly reward them for it. Okay. But remember, don't forget to keep charging that boundary. Okay. We need to make it clear to the dog what to do when there is a boundary. So when that mat's out in the pub, we need to make it clear to the dog they need to be on there. Only when they're on there will they get the value. If you've got a bed in the living room, only when they're on that bed are they going to get the value, because the value is on the boundary. Yeah, that is where the value is. Dogs will spend more time where the value is. Okay. And when it comes to boundaries, we've got to think of it a bit like a recipe. Okay. You have to keep putting in all the right ingredients to get the end result. The suction game, charging up the calmness as well. Okay. And how are we going to supercharge it? That's what we need to know. How are we going to supercharge it? We're going to play the boundary and suction games that we've talked about in tonight's webinar. Okay. When the dog's on the boundary or in the same room as boundary, make sure the value is going on that boundary. So if you say your dog is lying on the floor, okay, away from the bed, go feed the bed. Let them see this is where the value is. Okay. It's going to help orientate them back to the bed, but it's also going to encourage them to stay in the bed, because when I'm lying here, I get nothing. When I'm on the boundary, I get something. This is where the value is. Okay. Dogs will spend the time where the value is. I promise you that. Okay. If they know that you're going to leave meat or any food substance on the bench and they can reach it, they're going to spend time in the kitchen, because from their point of view, that's where the value is. Okay. We want to teach them that the value is in the bed, on the boundary. Okay. And how can you keep adding to the value? Kong toys, chews, toys, anything that's going to add calmness, okay, and encourage them to want to stay on it. Okay. Dogs will start to suction to it. Okay. And then we can enjoy rewarding them for it with our SMART 50 as well. All right. It's actually a really, really simple process to build this up. It just takes a little bit of time, and it takes a little bit of patience as well. The more patient you are, the better results you're going to get as well. Okay. Now, I quickly want to touch upon this as well, very, very quickly, because this is going to help with all elements of your puppy's life, and it's nothing in life is free. Basically, what that means is, if your puppy wants anything, they have to work for it. Doesn't mean housework, washing the car, or anything like that. Doing something. Okay, they have to do something in order to get something. So sit, paw, lie down, whatever it may be. Okay, everything should be earned. We don't just give our puppies treats for being cute. Even if they're on the boundary and we're giving them a Kong, okay, we should still get them to work for it. All right, we should still get them to work for that Kong. Okay, this is a form of positive-based methods of training. Dog does something, dog gets something. Okay, dog goes on boundary, dog gets something. Okay, it's a great way to build up trust, great way to build up confidence, and it's a great way to build up independence as well. And it's going to help create an everlasting bond between you and your puppy, which is the important part of having a puppy, right? Then we need to quickly look at attention seeking, okay, as we bring this webinar to an end. Now, puppies are very, very good at displaying attention seeking behaviors. Okay, very, very good. All right. What we want to do is let them see that attention is fine, but it's only going to be instigated by us. So I'm not saying we can't love our puppies. I'm not saying we can't give them attention. We can do all of that, but it has to be instigated by us. Okay, that's the only time our puppies should get attention. Okay, we're going to ignore all attention-seeking behaviors. Remember SMART 50. SMART 50, we're only looking for the desired behaviors. Any unwanted behaviors we ignore. And there's 3 rules to remember when it comes to ignoring any attention seeking or unwanted behaviors. Don't look at our puppy, don't touch our puppy, don't speak to our puppy. Okay, so as we come to the end of the webinar, obviously that's the calmness and teaching our puppy to settle is an important part. Okay, we can use the same training for night times as well too, getting them used to kind of being stuck to a boundary, letting them see that this is a place to be, this is where I'm going to get something. Okay, but there's many other steps to think about when we have puppies as well too. Okay, what I've taught you is obviously an important element of any dog's training. Okay, it's the exact same system I've taught many different owners over the years as well too, and it's helped many owners who have been struggling with their puppy's craziness as well. Okay, now training can be tricky. Okay, it can be, and you'll probably make a much faster progress if you want to look at signing up to a puppy school, one-to-one training, or something like that as well too. So obviously at Pets to Impress, we do run puppy school. We have 3 different options available. We have our 6-week foundations course, which runs on a Wednesday, 6 till 7. We have our Puppy School Plus, which is an advanced course. So the way that works is once puppy graduates from the 6-week foundation course, which covers all your basics, your lead training, recall training, you would then move on to a Tuesday night for our Puppy School Plus. And on there, we do some low impact agility, we do some scent work, we do some advanced lead and recall, and we actually do an outdoor lesson as well, where we take all the training that we've learned outdoors. And then we also have our Puppy Perfection course as well, which includes your foundations, it includes your Puppy School Plus, and it also includes a one-to-one lesson. And we do also do one-to-one courses as well too, if that's going to be more suitable. So puppy school is for puppies under the age of 6 months. If you've got puppies over the age of 6 months, we do have one-to-one training also available. We also have our brand new Sandancer Superhero Dog Club, which was launched at the beginning of this year. This is an online training club, something I absolutely love doing. We actually have a member of our Sandancer Club watching the webinar tonight. Not that she has a puppy, but she is thinking about getting a puppy. I think fairly soon. She'll, no doubt she'll tell us soon. Fairly soon. She does have another dog at the moment, but she's looking at getting a puppy as a little friend for her as well. But the Sandancer Superhero Dog Club, basically it's an online club. And every month we have monthly live Q&A sessions where you can ask any question. We do it all via Zoom as well too, and everything gets recorded. If you're never able to make the live Q&A sessions, you can send questions in. I'll answer your question at the beginning. It gets recorded and it gets put in our little group that we have as well too. We do monthly teleclasses. So every month we have a different teleclass where we talk about different topics. In fact, we've got our next telecast tomorrow night where we will be looking at dog body language. It's part 2 of a series that we've been doing. We also have special guest speakers. We've had vets coming on. We've had someone come and talk about T-touch treatment. We had someone on last month talking about the Emmett technique. We have someone coming on talking about mindset as well too, because you've got to have the right mind if you've got to if you're trying to train a puppy as well. You also get discounts on one-to-one training. When you sign up, there is a vault of videos and online courses, including my Ready Steady Recall course, my lead training course, my Perfect Pooch course, my Dancing with Dogs courses, my Ready Steady, my Bark No More course. There's quite a lot of courses already on there, and we'll be adding to them as well too as the years go on. You also get access to a private Facebook support group. So this is every month we do monthly challenges as well too. This is a place for you to kind of share your progress, but also just if you're working on anything as well too, you can share videos and I'll come and be able to see them. So it just means you're getting some ongoing support as well too, because I do like being able to help. I don't just want it just to constantly be you guys watching me doing webinars. I want to be able to give you guys feedback as well too, to say yes, this is really good, keep it up, or oh right, well I think the reason that we're not quite getting this is because of this and this. Okay, there's also an online forum. If you've got any questions, you can ask them anytime as well. You also get a welcome gift for signing up. Now there is a special offer available for anyone that is watching this webinar this evening, where you can actually get your first month for just £1. That's it. £1, and you will have full access to the club. All you need to do is visit the website, which is www.petstoimpress.com, and then you would enter that code. Okay, if you've got your phone on you and you're interested, take a quick picture of that code now, because you will need it. Like I say, you will get a recording of this webinar either later on this evening or tomorrow at some point as well. Okay. So that brings us to the end of tonight's webinar. Thank you very, very much for joining me on this, what should be a lovely summer's evening, but it's really not. It's miserable outside. It's still chucking it down. It's not very pleasant at all. So let's have a look anyway before we end. We had a couple of questions come through, so let's see. Right, Bex. So this is Bex's question. I struggle to get my pup to remain on their bed. I often don't get a chance to say a release word before they're already off. Should I be saying stay or using an alternative method to get him to remain? So this is what I mean by saying feed the bed. If you start feeding the bed, chances are they're going to be sucked to the bed. They're going to be wanting to stay on the bed because that's where the value is as well. You can build on the stay. There's nothing wrong with doing that. Nothing wrong at all with building on the stay and encouraging them to stay on the bed as well too. But if you start feeding the bed, and you're actively feeding the bed and you're rewarding the puppy for every time they're on the bed, they're going to be sucked more to the bed. They're going to be going to the bed as well. Okay, but see how you go with, by all means, like I say, practice with the stay. I don't necessarily think you'll need to if you start just feeding the bed as well too. Okay, hope that answers your question. How does that work for sharply biting? Oh, thanks, Alexander. Mine is related to ignoring bad behaviour.
Yeah, sorry. I'd realised because I'd typed it as you were in the middle of saying it, and then after I back, I was like, he doesn't know what bit I'm on about.
Oh, Dawn, that's great. Thank you for clarifying. Right. Thanks. So, with regards to play biting, this is a common behaviour that many owners struggle with. It's a common behaviour that many struggle with. So, with regards to play biting, the best kind of thing I would recommend for that is always carry around some form of ammunition. So I don't mean a gun or anything like that, but have something where, like a squeaky toy or something like that, okay? Imagine you sat down on a night time and puppy comes and starts chewing your hand, okay, or mouth your hand. What we're going to do, the part of us that puppy is chewing, we need to try and keep as still as possible. Okay, because as soon as we start flapping away or saying, no, don't do that, or tapping them on the nose, we're giving them attention for it and we're making it clear. So we're then encouraging them to repeat that behavior again. Okay, by keeping your hands still, you're teaching puppy that, oh, this is actually quite boring. Then what you're going to do with your free hand, you're going to reach for that ammunition and you're going to stretch far away as you can, keeping this hand still. You're going to start wriggling the toy. You're going to start squeaking it. As soon as puppy leaves the hand that's still and goes towards the wriggling toy, we're then going to engage in some playtime with your puppy, okay? And we're teaching you that actually, if I play with my toy, I'm going to get more attention from my owner as opposed to if I'm chewing on their hand. Likewise, if puppy's in the living room, say, and they start playing with the toy, go down and engage with puppy with them as well too, okay? Let them see, oh, right, whenever I play with this, good things happen. The human gets involved. Very similar to the bed. Whenever I'm in the bed, something good comes my way, okay? Yeah. Whenever I pick up the toy, oh, something good comes my way. If I'm chewing on the hand, oh, this is boring. Nothing exciting happens, okay? Yeah. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take some time because it's a natural behavior, something that's already programmed into them as well too, because it's how they've played with the litter mates and the mom. So it's a natural behavior. I mean, they don't understand that we don't have big fur coats. When they bite us, it does hurt. But I find that's from my experience, that's always been the best way that I've found has worked. You can also, if it kind of gets to a point where you think, I really physically can't stay still any longer, you can kind of make a really almighty squeal as well. Have you stood on puppy yet?
No, I haven't, but he's a Vizsla, so he's literally round my feet all
Right.
the time.
It's
He's
gonna
like,
happen. So it's definitely gonna happen. You're definitely gonna you'll definitely stand on him at some point. So this
yeah.
kind of, has he hurt himself yet where he kind of makes like an almighty squeal?
No,
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 well, it will come, trust us. But
yeah,
basically, the kind of squeal they make is kind of what we're looking at kind of replicating as well too.
yeah.
Because again, when puppies are in their litter mates, if they're like having a rough and tumble, if one gets hurt by the other, they'll automatically kind of give out like a squeal. And that's
Hmm.
kind of an automatic instinctive behavior for them to be like, oh, right, game over. They kind of release themselves and then they'll go at it again. If that makes sense. So you can
Yeah, no.
back it up with a squeal as well too, if needs be.
Yeah. I've tried the squeal. I did do
Try
it,
to
and he
squeal.
just looked at us,
You
and
just look,
then
this is
he
great
did it
fun.
again.
Right. I would try with keeping your hands still then. I
How
know,
about for, sorry to interrupt, how about for like jumping up when you're like on the settee, scratch like, and his paws are on your legs?
so what I would be doing at that point is standing up and turning me back on him.
Yeah, right. Brilliant.
It's consistency, unfortunately. Just remember the golden rules with attention seeking. Don't look, don't speak, don't touch.
Yeah,
Okay? Remember them.
brilliant.
But I think after a night's webinar, if you start implementing these lessons that we've gone through tonight,
Yeah,
I think you're going to start seeing a much calmer behaved puppy anyway, because we're
yeah.
promoting calmness a lot more as
Yeah,
well.
okay. I
Yeah.
am booked on your 6 weeks course, but it's through my name, my middle name, Charlotte, because that's what I actually go by.
Well, as soon as you said Vizsla, I was like, I'm sure
Yeah,
you are booked on the course. So yeah.
yeah.
Oh well, yeah. Well, obviously, obviously, if you've got any questions after a night as well too, then just keep it.
No, that's brilliant. Thank you very much. I really appreciated it.
Oh, you're very welcome. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Right, we'll move on with a
Take care.
question. You too, you too. Right, Laura, thanks, Tim. Very helpful. You're very welcome. Bex, thanks, Tim. One more from me for ignoring bad behaviour. How should we stop them from jumping at kitchen counters or grabbing things they shouldn't? Shoes, tissue, boxes, plants in the garden, without saying anything, touching or looking at them. So, first things first is you want to remove any temptation. So it's difficult with plants in the garden, but you want to try and remove away any temptation. So certainly kitchen counters, make sure there's nothing at reach for them to get that's going to be yummy and tasty. Shoes, tissue boxes, try and keep out of reach, and try and give alternative things as well, so such as cones and things like that. But again, the lessons that you guys have learned within this webinar are so important, because if you implement them and really work at them, you're going to see a massive change in your puppy's behavior as well too. So practice with that, and see how you get on with that. With regards to if they pick things up that they shouldn't have, then you want to be looking at teaching the leave command. So you're exchanging something of high value for something of high value. So you're taking something of high value from them, but you're exchanging it for something else as well too. These are things that we run through at puppy school as well too. There's also videos on the Sandancer Superhero Dog Club as well too, on the leave command as well. Hope that helps. So Kate, we are looking at getting a puppy at the start of the new year. Be a brother or sister to our 20-month-old little girl, and we'll definitely be using all of this advice for our new arrival, as we have been struggling with impulse with our girl, and it's clear that if we had started this type of training earlier, we might have managed to avoid the issues that we are currently having. The one-to-one training that we are having with you now is starting to have a really positive impact alongside all the additional training that we've been doing through the Sandancer Superhero Dog Club. Thank you so much, Kate. That's lovely to hear. Bunty is actually a lovely little dog, and I'm saying this to everyone as well. Bunty's a lovely dog, and I love working with her as well. Kate won't mind me saying this, and she's said it already, but she does really struggle with impulse control. We've been doing a lot of work with her impulse control, and bless her, she's doing incredible. She's one of them dogs that just loves to please as well too. Like, she's lush. I love working with her. So thank you so much, Kate. Megan, thank you, Tim. Bex, thank you. We'll say Charlotte rather than Alexandra. Thank you. And Laura, Winnie is practicing this week for her exam on Wednesday. So Winnie is currently doing currently doing the 6-week course. She has her end of course exam with me on Wednesday. So I'm sure she'll be absolutely grand though. Right, did we have any other questions, guys? Or are we happy to call that a night? I'll open it. Cool. Right. Well, if there's no more pressing questions, then we will end it. We will say good night for this evening. So I've said there will be a recording of this available, so you can refer back to it whenever you want to as well. Like I say, if anyone's interested in signing up the puppy school, just give us a call. If anyone is interested in one-to-one training, there's the process for booking in one-to-one training is to first of all book in a free telephone consultation with me, which you can do via our website. Or if anyone's interested in joining the Sandancer Superhero Dog Club, then by all means make use of the special offer available as well. But thank you so much for joining me this evening. I'm glad you've all enjoyed it. Any questions after a night as well, just drop us an email as well too, all right? So I'll always get back to you. So thank you very, very much, and I hope to see some of you guys soon. Take care, everyone. Good night, and God bless.